Hello everyone, and welcome back to my new series, Sewing Behind the Scenes. This is episode 2, and today we're going to be talking about the top that I'm wearing and a pair of pants that you can't see. So you're going to get to see behind the scenes footage of 2 garments that I've made to create a set. Now, before we move forward, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much, because I did ask for feedback after episode 1 to see if you all were interested in me continuing to post this kind of content. And it was an overwhelming yes. And I'm so glad, because I love this. I think it is so much fun. So in episode 2 today, I'm going to be talking about the blouse that I made using Vogue 8772 and the pants that I made using Vogue 9302. But before we move forward, I do want to clarify a couple of things that were mentioned in the comments on the first episode. Number 1, this series does not replace the sew-alongs. Several people commented and said that they would prefer to have my step-by-step videos. This doesn't replace that. I'm still going to continue with the sew-alongs, but this is just in addition to the sew-alongs. And what I think would be really fun is for me to share the behind-the-scenes videos of the garment that I will be doing a sew-along for. So you will get to see what's coming up, and then you can get excited about making the outfit for yourself. And then I will probably do a pattern review after the behind the scenes video. So for instance, if I were gonna do a sew-along for this blouse, I would do the behind the scenes video like I'm doing today. And then the next video would be a pattern review to get you prepared to sew the garment with all of the information that you will need from the pattern. And then the third video would be the step-by-step tutorial with us making the garment together. So that's the plan. Now, I will not be doing a sew-along for every garment that I share in the behind the scenes series. I will pick and choose the ones that I want to do. And the majority of them will be beginner friendly, because I cater to new beginners. Every once in a while, there may be an advanced beginner project, or maybe even an intermediate, but very, very few, because I have a heart for beginners. That's just the way it is. And then another thing I want to clarify is that the videos, the 5 days of videos that you see compiled into this one video, they are shown on my social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, day by day. There was a comment that it was too repetitive. The video, or episode 1 that I posted, that it was too repetitive and I only needed to show the pattern one time. What I need you to keep in mind is that when I'm posting this on social media, not everybody is seeing all of the content. There are people who are coming back day to day to see what's next, but not everybody is doing that. So if I show the pattern on day 1 and then I'm showing it again on days 2 through 5, it's because there are some people who have not seen the other videos, and it never fails. People ask, what's the pattern number, even when I mention it. So I just want to let you know, for this video, I have edited a bit so that it's not so repetitive. So we'll see how that goes. If it turns out to be too much work for me, I'm going to keep it the way it was in the first episode, okay? But anyway, let's get into episode number 2 of Sewing Behind the Scenes. Hello everyone, I'm getting started on my next sewing project, and this time I'm working with Vogue 8772, and I'm making view D, the long sleeve button front. Now, I have made view B before, and it's absolutely beautiful with the bow, but I'm going without the bow this time because of the fabric that I'm going to be using. And speaking of fabric, look at this beauty. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with the print when I saw it. And I got this from Core Fabrics, and it is their large ink blot flower print cotton poplin. So it's a 100% cotton, and I just absolutely love the print. I love the colors. It's a navy with a cream background, and then on the back side, it has the whitish color. And it's a really crisp fabric, and this is why I did not want to do the bow. It's really crisp, so it doesn't really have it doesn't really have a nice drape. And with a bow, I would want something that has a little bit of a drape. And when I crush it up, there you can see how crisp it is. So that's what I'm going to be using for the blouse. And I'm going to be pairing it with a pair of wide leg pants using Vogue 9302. And I'm making View C, which I have also made in the past, and I absolutely love them. I made them with a linen blend fabric. And I'm going to be making the waistband wider because I want to make a matching belt. And the fabric I'm going to be using is this 100% linen that goes really well with the print. This is also from Core Fabrics, and it is their midweight European linen, 100% linen. And oh my gosh, it's going to be so beautiful. So you can see that it's a little translucent. So I will be obviously adding a lining. And then I have not washed it yet. So once I wash it, it will have a little bit more drape. But here you can see 100% linen does what it does. When you crush it up, you do get the wrinkles. But I'm going to be adding a lining. And speaking of lining, this is the beauty. This is the beauty I'm going to be using. I wish you could feel the fabric. So this is also from Core Fabrics, and this is their Bimberg Cupro lining, 100% Cupro. This is my first time using a Cupro lining. I've never used it before, but it feels divine. It feels rich, and I cannot wait to get into this. So these are the beautiful fabrics that I'm going to be using to create these pieces. So stay tuned. I'm going to come back and give you some behind the scenes footage on the making of these garments. And I cannot wait. I can't wait to put this together. All right, stay tuned. Before I go into day 2 here on YouTube, first I want to show you how I usually pre-treat my fabrics and the special care that I gave to these particular pieces. So I always serge the cut edges of any fabrics that I purchase that will unravel on the ends. And the reason I do that is to prevent the unraveling in the washing machine. I don't know if you've ever experienced pulling out fabric that you've washed from the washing machine and it's a big ball of knotted threads. That is so annoying. And pulling all of those threads apart and having to press those wrinkles out is not fun. So I will always serge the ends and then put my fabric into the washing machine. Next, I will pre-treat any fabrics that have dyes that I believe will bleed onto other fabrics in the washing machine. So before placing my linen in the washing machine, I filled my sink with warm water and allowed the linen to soak overnight. And you can see how blue that water is. Then I rinsed it the next day and filled my sink with warm water again and allowed the linen to soak overnight. And you can see there's less blue tint to the water. I will do this however many times I need to get rid of as much dye as possible before I sew my garment. Then finally, I will wash the garment. I wash the linen, the fabric, with light colored fabrics to see if I get any bleeding onto the fabric. And as you can see, there is no blue dye on the sheets. These are just sheets that I use for muslins. So after everything is clear, I will go ahead and dry my fabrics and use them. I did the same thing for my poplin. I filled the sink with warm water, allowed it to soak overnight, checked it. The water was a little blue, not too much. And then I repeated that the next day and the water was pretty clear with this fabric. Then I did the same thing with the poplin that I did with the linen. I washed it in the machine with white sheets to see if there would be any dye transfer. And after checking the sheets, there is nothing. They came out nice and clean. However, I continued checking the fabric and I did find areas where there was bleeding onto the cream parts of the fabric. Now, it wasn't a lot throughout the entire cut or the entire length of fabric, but I wanted to make sure, so I kept checking to see how much it would be. And here you can see a blue streak where the blue bled onto the cream. And I don't know if this happened during soaking in the sink or if it happened while I was washing in the washing machine. But I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't throughout the entire cut of fabric. And it wasn't, so I knew that I could continue working with the fabric without having to wash it again. I also knew that if there was more bleeding in the fabric, then I would definitely find it during the pressing stage before laying it out for cutting. Okay, now all of my fabrics have been pre-treated according to the manufacturer's instructions. So for my cotton poplin, I washed in warm water and I dried it on hot. And then I used a hot iron to press. And during ironing, I was able to identify any spots where the blue dye bled onto the cream. This is the full length of the fabric, and you can see how the one pink dot is on the edge in the middle, and then the second pink dot is right in the middle of the fabric. And it's not a big or a dark spot, but it is noticeable to me. So I've identified that with a pink dot. Then there are two others down here at the end, closer to the other edge of the fabric. And again, these are very light marks, but I can notice them. So let's see, you may be able to see, I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, but there is a little blue mark there. And then here, there's a little blue. I can see it here. But the reason I've done this is because when I'm laying out my pattern pieces, I want to make sure that I'm not laying my pattern pieces on those spots. So I'm going to have to play around with layout to ensure that I'm not getting that, because I will notice and it will bother me even if nobody else can see it. And with my linen fabric, I did the same thing. I washed in warm water, dried it on hot, and then pressed it with a hot iron. And I did the same thing during pressing. I identified any areas that had imperfections. So here you can see the full length of the fabric, and there is a pink dot there in the middle. And what I identified during pressing is this line on the cross grain of the fabric, on the cross weave. You see that line? When I'm placing my pattern pieces, I want to make sure that I'm not catching that in the middle of the garment. And here you can see the drape on the linen after it has been pressed. It is a bit more drapey, or not as crisp as it was before treating. Okay. And you still get the wrinkles because this is 100% linen. And for my Bimberg Cupro lining, I washed it with warm water and dried it on low, but I pressed it with a warm to hot iron. It says cool or warm, but the warm wasn't getting the wrinkles out for me. So I did go a little bit hotter, and it turned out just fine. And here you can see it. I did not identify any imperfections with the lining. And here you can see the drape. When I tell you this fabric feels so luxurious, it's the best lining I've worked with so far. And the drape is good. So this is going to be really nice with the linen. Okay, I want to show you how I laid my pattern pieces onto the fabric, taking into account the dots to mark the places where I don't want pattern pieces. So I have my pattern instruction sheet, and this is the layout that I'm using. I'm sewing blouse D, and I'm using 60-inch width fabric. So this is the layout. I have a fold on one side and then the selvage on the other. So let me give you a full view. That's a full view of the layout. And here is the fold, and then the selvage is over there. So I want to show you what I've done. So according to the layout, piece number 1 is on the selvage end. And so that's where I've placed it. But take notice that I did not bring it up to the edge. First of all, because the cut is not even. So you can see that's not even. So I could bring it up a little bit, about maybe a couple of inches. But if I did that, I would be getting the dot inside of my garment, and my 5/8 inch seam allowance is here. So you would see a little bit of that on the edge. And then although this dot is here, the 5/8 inch seam allowance would take it away so that the blue dye wouldn't show on that one. So to alleviate all of that, I'm bringing it down to make sure that I'm not getting the dot inside of my garment. And then down on this end, you can see the layout that has the sleeve right under piece number 2. So here is piece number 2 on my fabric, but I placed my sleeve on that side. And the reason I did that is because I have the 2 dots here, and I didn't want to play around. So if I had brought it over here under piece number 2, like they instruct, I would have the dot inside of there. Although I could move it over so that it's not on the dot, or I could move it down so that it's not on either of those dots. Even if I moved it closer to the fold, it's not touching the dots. But I decided to just put it on this side because I have enough fabric to do that. And then for the other pieces, I did not follow the layout. I just placed them where I was free of the dots. And the reason I was able to do that is because I purchased extra fabric, and I highly recommend purchasing extra fabric, especially when you're purchasing fabrics that shrink in the wash. Now, I want to show you what happened when I washed my fabric. So I purchased 2 yards of this fabric. It calls for 1 3/8, but I wanted to get extra. So I started my measurement 1 inch down because we don't have a straight cut. It's not a straight cut on the crosswise, okay? So I went down about 1 inch. And then here you can see I have my 1 yard. And then I'm going to go down with my yardstick, and starting at the 37-inch mark, I'll show you that I have another yard. So about 2 yards of fabric. And the reason I say about 2 yards is because this is more than a yard difference. So let's measure it. We have about 2 yards. We have about 2 yards difference there. Okay. So be very careful that you're ordering enough fabric for your garments. Always order extra. I teach my students that in my sewing course. Always order a little extra fabric. Even if you're not buying fabric that shrinks, just order extra because you never know what's going to happen. Okay, before we move on, I want to show you my final layout. I've moved some pattern pieces around, and this is what I came up with getting the most use of the fabric. Now, I want you to notice that I have extra fabric here after changing things around. However, if I had ordered only 1 3/8 of a yard of fabric, I would have an issue. So this time I measured down 2 inches from the top because of that uneven cut, and I got my 1 yard. So here is the 36-inch mark, which is a yard, but I moved down to 38 and started my next yard. And here is the 3/8 inch mark. Look what would happen. So there's 3/8 of an inch. I would not have enough fabric for this particular layout. And I needed to change things around again because of the dye bleeding over into the cream color. So this is another example why it's important to order extra fabric, because if you have to change your layout, then you're going to want to make sure that you don't run out of fabric. Everything is looking good so far. It's coming together beautifully. The fit is good. I've done the fit check. It's actually a bit more snug than I wanted it to be, but that's on me. I probably should have gone up to the next size, but it's okay. It still looks good. So here we have the button front. I've closed it up just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. I have the collar stand and the collar attached with the top stitching on both sides. We have fisheye darts. You can barely see, but we have fisheye darts that go all the way up and down on both sides. And then we also have bust darts here on the side. Give you a side view. There it is from the side. And then we have a curved hem. And then from the back, this is what it looks like. And we have the fisheye darts in the back also on both sides. And I'll raise the collar so you can see the collar stand. Beautiful top stitching. So everything is looking really, really nice. So now all I have to do is attach the sleeves, which I've already constructed. So we have the sleeve here with the cuff. All the top stitching is done. All I have to do is sew in the buttonholes and attach the buttons, and that will be done. And this is the button I'm thinking about using. So let me show you. This is what I'm thinking about using, just to keep it really simple. I'll be wearing this top with skirts, pants, and jeans. So I think that'll go just fine. Stay tuned. I'm going to finish up the top and then I will come back with, I think I'm going to come back next with a reveal. I'm going to make the pants behind the scenes and then I'll come back with the reveal in the next video. Stay tuned. And here is the finished garment. I love it. I think it is so beautiful. It turned out really well. So let's take a close-up look. First, we have the button front closure. And I used very simple iridescent buttons that I think look really nice with the top. We have the collar with the collar stand and the top stitching. Oh, I love the top stitching. We have long sleeves with a deep cuff, more top stitching. And we have darts. We have the fisheye dart, the really long fisheye dart that goes almost to the bottom, and the bust dart. So those really help with shaping the garment. Take you around to the back. You can see we have a curved hem. And then here it is from the back. Oh, it is so beautiful. And I just had this vision when I saw the fabric of what I wanted to do. And I think it turned out so well. Now, I am almost done with the pants. They're coming along really nicely. Love the fabric. So I have put these together. I did increase the width of my waistband. I wanted it a little bit wider this time because I did make these pants before. I added belt loops to accommodate the matching belt. I did make a belt to go along with my pants because That's the vision I had in my head. So stay tuned. I'm going to come back with photos of me wearing the garment, actually both garments put together. And here I am wearing the garment. I had envisioned a beautiful classic tailored piece, but honestly, I think this turned out to be way more beautiful than I imagined. In this first photo, I'm wearing it with the collar folded down. And then here in the second photo, you can see it with the collar popped in. Oh, the drama. I love it. Now, if you're interested in seeing photos of the insides of both garments, then make sure you check out my blog post. There is a link in the description box below this video, and I have lots of close-up photos of both the insides and outsides of both garments. And you will also find links, direct links to the fabrics and patterns that I used. You will also find those links in the description box below the video. Okay, everyone, this right here, this right here. Can we give it up? Can we give it up for the outfit? Oh my gosh, I'm in love. I love it so much. This is my style through the roof. Like, can you walk into a high-end boutique and pick up an outfit like this? Tell the truth. Yes, you can. You can walk into a high-end boutique and pick up something like this and walk out looking fabulous. I am, this is it. It's exactly what I had envisioned. So the top is Vogue 8772. And I've shown you the details in previous posts. If you missed, go and check it out. But look at this top. This blouse is fabulous. And honey, when you pop that collar and give it a little extra oomph, you know. And then the pants, we've got pockets. You got to have pockets. I love the wide leg style. They're very, very comfortable, very comfortable. And I lined my pants with a Bimberg Cupro lining from Core Fabrics. And when I slipped my foot into the pant leg, I was like, oh, it feels so good. Very luxurious, gives the pants a rich feel. Just, I'm loving it so much. And I made a matching belt. So you can see the belt here. That's the vision I had when I saw the fabric for the blouse. Now, the fabric for the blouse is what set this entire outfit off. When I saw the blouse, I got a whole vision for the outfit I wanted to make, and I brought it to life, and this is the vision. I love it so much. So yes, this is it. I plan to wear it a lot, to a lot of places. So I've styled it with several silver chains. I have one here on my neck and then two longer ones outside the blouse. I have several silver bangles and a pair of silver hoop earrings. And then I paired the outfit with a pair of open toe taupe colored pumps just to keep it neutral. And then I like this purse with it. It has the beige color and then a little pop of red that just sets it off. Oh, I love it. If you're interested in any of the fabrics that I use to make this outfit, then make sure you check out corefabricstore.com and use my code Anita10 to get 10% off of these fabrics or any other fabrics in the store that are not already on sale. Also, direct links to the fabrics that I used in the description box below this video. Now, if you don't know how to sew yet, or if you're a new beginner just getting started, and this video has evoked so much excitement for you, then I want to invite you to come over and check out my online sewing course for beginners. It's called Learn to Sew, Mastering the Basics. I want to walk you through the process from beginning to end, step by step, with lots of details. Check out the link in the description box that will take you over to my page with all of the details so that you can find out if my course is for you. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed episode number 2 of Sewing Behind the Scenes. If so, make sure you hit the like button and leave me a comment. You all know how much I love reading your comments and answering questions. And also, if you still have feedback about this series, I'd love to hear about that too. Let me know if you enjoyed the second one better than the first one, or if you don't care, you just love this content. Let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.